There's a really cool part in the pre-chorus to my latest single, Home to You, that we're going to talk about today, but I just wanted to show it to you real quick before we get started. Bright lights in the desert, it's right there. It just comes in twice during that entire chorus part, and it just sounds like this. So in today's music production strategies video series, we are continuing along with our interview with Fiona Foreman, who I hired to produce my latest single, Home to You, by Random Somebody, that you can find anywhere you stream music. Today we're going to talk about how to use risers and effects to create contrast in a production, how she layered synth parts throughout that built a lot of interest throughout the production, and then how I recorded the vocal parts and produced the vocal parts in each section of the song to emphasize the emotion and sort of the evolution of the emotion throughout the song, starting off pretty sweet and then pretty rocking at the end, and then how I use plugins to enhance that emotion, not just relying on my own vocal capabilities, but also using a collection of pretty cool plugins to really drive that home, literally, actually. If you haven't listened to the song yet, I highly recommend you check it out so the interview makes more sense. Check that out wherever you stream music. So let's get into it. And then you have, I think I had at least 10, 15 tracks of risers and effects, which was the folder. And things that like were these tiny little things here and there that totally made the song, because it created contrast in the and sort of emphasis in the transitions. It built up the loops coming in and out. The sub drop really helped, was cool. So tell me a little bit about how you come up with those ideas.
Yeah, often that's towards the end. I feel like the icing on the cake, those things.
Okay.
Apart from the sub drop, that came pretty early. It's how are we going to get into this big rocky part? And yeah, I don't know how I come up with them. They just appear. But the rise, you can definitely hear when it needs that sense of tension and anticipation when you're coming into a new section. Where usually the chorus, you can hear, oh, it'd be cool if it stopped. Also, I think we talked about the drums that, is it Ty, your drummer?
Yeah.
He had some spots where the snare would, and it would stop into the next bit. And it's like, is that exactly where we want the stops? Because often towards the end of the process, I start thinking about, if it hasn't happened naturally already, where would some stops help the song? And that's probably coming a bit from the sync world, where we often need edit points in for video editors. Sure. But it's just also cool to have something going on that's different regularly through the song, so that people's attention spans.
It's just ear candy, right?
Yeah, ear candy. Some of those effect things are really obvious and easy to, like, I reckon we definitely need something to lead into the next section. But one of them that I really like in this song is the little, what's it called? What is it called? I can't remember what it's called, but a dong, sort of little.
That was my favorite from the very start. I was like, I thought it was like roto drums. It sounded like that, but then it's just these effects that like really accent that part of the song.
Yeah, I think it's always not on the first.
Every other time too. So you wanted to hear it the next time, and then you don't. So you like crave it, and then it comes back and sort of like fulfills you're keeping the listener. You're keeping them on their toes.
That's exactly right. I love doing that stuff. Yeah, and that comes towards the end of it. Yeah, you get the guts of it down, and then I just need something to draw me in a bit more. Yeah, it's fun, real fun.
Definitely. And then you had a bunch of synths. So tell me about your sort of sound selection and what you were trying to achieve with the synths.
You kept saying it needs to sound faster. And obviously you didn't mean tempo. We're not changing the tempo, but it needs to have that sense of urgency, I think was what you were looking for. And you'd already mentioned that you like the idea of arpeggiated synths. And so I use Reason actually as my primary synths. Reason is actually a standalone door of its own these days. But it has a massive library of all sorts of amazing sounds. And I've actually tried not to fall into the trap of buying more and more different sounds, because I've got Cubase and Reason, and they actually have quite significant sound libraries as they are. You want to try and stay on top of the trends and keep modern. So I've got a lot of make pop music stuff and other libraries as well, but I try not to overdo it and try and use what I've got. It's got some very powerful synths where you can plug and play and switch around sounds and put them through all sorts of fun gadgets. And so, yeah, I just could hear that first one that you really liked, I stumbled upon that pretty much as it was, I think, and then I just gave it a bit of filtering and a bit of automation on the volume as well to make that sense of urgency happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's often a balance between the edgy guitar part, the delayed part. That's similar to a arpeggiated synth sound. So you have to be careful about making sure if you're going to have them overlaid, make sure they don't fight each other either rhythmically or tonally. So it's just a matter of a bit of experimentation and finding something that's pretty close. It's that's actually sounds like if I just got the rhythm, you can adjust the rhythms. Some of them, if I just adjust this rhythm or tone or amount of distortion or saturation on it or whatever, it'll fit better with that guitar. Those are the sort of things I think about when I'm choosing ups. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and then like you had a second one that like you can hear it. I think it comes into the second verse or whatever that it builds on top of it and weaves in and out. It's really cool. Just like how much the arrangement and the production just flows, and there's all sorts of stuff that is interesting to listen to. It's funny to talk about your own song that way, but I'm almost hearing, because you did so much of it, I'm so artistic on your end that I'm like so fascinated with how it's become.
Yeah, and one thing I've learned to do with the synth thing is you have a synth at the start and it's like really cool, and then how do I make it bigger and more? It's cool as it is. So then I overlay it with the exact same synth down an octave or up an octave or with a bit more distortion or filtered or whatever on top of it. And it's still there, but it's a bit different. Your ear craves that newness in the next section, but it's not, it flows from the first section. Good fun.
Yeah, for sure. And then you would send all that to me, and then the final thing to do was basically just record the lead vocals. So I had to do that on my own, needing to be the lead vocalist, or wanting to be, really. And so I set up a session and recorded it all. And it's basically all double tracked vocals, except the final part is triple tracked, actually. The choruses are all panned hard left and hard right. I actually had a lot of fun making the verses slightly different from each other. So I really try to sing softer and more like sweetly, if you will, in the first verse. And then I definitely sing the same part and whatever, but I definitely try to be a little more aggressive with the vocals. And then I actually I automate a saturation plugin on the second verse to accent that contrast even further. And then the original idea for the finale, for the big ooh part at the end, was, all right, let's get a bunch of people and make like a virtual choir. And then I just knew that was gonna take forever, and I was just gonna put new things in the way instead of just like finishing the song. There's plenty in the song already. It doesn't need a bunch of extra stuff. So I basically recorded a ton of oohs myself in a lot of different harmonies. So there's you don't hear it, but there's like falsettos, there's like really high falsettos, there's really low oohs, and it's all just blended together at the very end to support the lead vocal into the final stop, if you will, because the song ends very abruptly.
Yeah, and I like that. You can't actually hear specifically each part, but it feels fat and full and big and huge, and it's just you. Lots of you.
yeah, that's what a few of my friends definitely commented. Like, they like the vocals. Everybody's really happy with the vocals, maybe even surprised, because it's not necessarily something that they've heard from me before.
Yeah.
But then also a friend of mine was just joking, it's just a lot of Björkvin.
yeah. You're going to try all those tricks to stand way back from the mic, have a big room, and I don't know about you, but I'd use Alter Boy or something and change the formant and pitches.
Oh yeah, it's Alter Boy actually is on the chorus vocal track, and it actually contributes a lot to the sound of the chorus vocals. There's slight distortion, slight like format shift or whatever it is that you tweak it. It can get real nasty real fast.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it was once I tweaked the plugin to be subtle enough while like really adding size and bigness without making me sound basically mangled.
Yes.
It really made that vocal sound very cool.
Yeah. No, it sounds great. I'm glad you're really happy with it, and you've done a great job mixing it too. It's and that's another thing. Like I said, when I heard the final mix, it's like, that is so not how I would have mixed it, because I'm in more of a pop frame of mind probably, and you're from a punk and rock background, but it's cool. It's really cool. It's just creativity, and it's neither would be better. It's just different, and yeah, it's great.
Totally. Yeah, no, it was interesting to hear. I was like, yeah, because like when you're mixing, you're just finding what the sound is that you want. So you're methodically searching. If you're an inexperienced mixer, you're trying out a bunch of different things. I have a very specific process how I do it. I spend probably the first few hours just in mono on the mix cube, low levels, just getting all the volume balanced right, all the little things right, so that the energy of the song really, because if it's like really grooving on a shitty little speaker, I know that when I put it into the on the main monitors, it's gonna hit a lot harder and be really great. And it's funny to hear that, because I hear things a certain way and you hear things a certain way, even if you have the same ingredients, right?
Yeah, you can get two totally different results from exactly the same ingredients. It would be very interesting.
All right, so throughout this series, we have broken down the entire production process, from how I found the producer, how I recorded the scratch tracks and the final drum tracks, how I sent those things over to her, and how she built the track layer by layer, guitars, bass, synths, backup vocals, all sorts of risers and effects that made the production what it is like today. If you haven't checked it out yet, go check out Home to You by Random Somebody, wherever you stream music, and so that all of this stuff that we talk about throughout the series makes a little more sense. But in the next and final part of our production series, we're going to be talking about best practices of working with a producer, so that if you are an artist looking for a producer to work with, or a producer looking to get into working with artists, you might benefit a lot from some of these suggestions that we have for you in our next video. So please remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss that one. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Björkman from Audio Issues. Take it easy.